Well, today we got transparency and why from 343 Industries. Earlier today, Postums dropped a blog detailing why it is that the Halo Reach firefighting flights have not occurred yet and what are some of the reasons for the delay. Well, howdy, hey folks, Cole here, and as you know, it is my desire to bring you joy with every piece of content that I create. Let's talk about this blog and just kind of what this means for the current state of Halo Reach coming to PC and the Xbox, as well as what this blog kind of says indirectly about 343. All right, first things first. Massive thanks to Postums and 343 for being this transparent. Postums states at the beginning of the blog post that they did this in a, quote, spirit of openness and sharing more information. This is always the right move. Even as painful as it might be for developers to come out and talk about why their original targets weren't hit, you always create goodwill when you are transparent and let fans know why something is the way it is. So good on you guys. This is really great fan service. To my eye, there are three big ideas from this blog. The first, 343's transparency and how they approach flighting. The second, to help give us as fans perspective as to what the developers run into from a roadblock standpoint that keeps things like flighting from happening. And thirdly, to explain to us a little bit more as fans 343's mantra of when it's ready, and why they're taking that approach to their game development. So Postums outlines what they call their flighting rings process. Postum writes, quote, each flighting build must successfully complete a series of tests before it's made available to insiders. These tests require a build progresses through what we refer to as rings. These are 4 rings in total, the final, ring 3, being Halo Insiders. For a flight to go on to the insiders, it must make its way through each of the rings without bugs that are deemed blocking issues. Essentially, they have a 3-tiered stopgap system that a build has to pass before they ship it out to insiders, and they won't progress a build until everything functions as it should according to their key performance indicators. This sounds like a really solid quality control system that they have, and they are being extremely intentional on being sure that all the things that are truly game or build breaking doesn't make it into the final product for the flight. And this is huge and goes hand in hand with their quality above all else approach. Postums then outlines in detail what each ring process entails, so you can go check that out on the blog if you want. Then the blog goes on to talk about that the things that keep a flight from progressing through this ring system are referred to as blockers. Postums outlines these as, quote, blocking bugs are blockers in that they are deemed severe enough to prevent a flight from functioning as needed. Keep in mind that though we addressed, mitigate, and solve blocking bugs for each ring of flighting, this doesn't mean that any flight is bug-free. In fact, it's quite the contrary, since each flight is very much a work-in-progress development build. In most cases, we will be aware of existing minor bugs and proactively identify these known issues for Halo Insider participant, while in some cases, it's the insiders themselves who bring new bugs to our attention while playing. To give context to what the team is working through now, Postums goes on to share that right now they have just completed their first Ring 1 test of the Halo Reach Fireflight build on PC, and that currently 5 blockers are blocking Ring 2 from progressing, and 15 blockers are blocking from them even getting to Ring 3. So in short, it appears there have been quite a few more major bugs that they have had to contend with than what was originally expected, thus delaying their progression through their quality control process. Postums goes on to share that core development of the game's development itself is still being done, and that they're not stopping those processes and just polling everyone to help squash bugs. Because of this, they'll continue to not publicly announce flighting dates, because that is, at best, tough to properly forecast while so many teams are working through this monster of a project. And that makes sense because they don't want to stop work on the game in its entirety just to squash some bugs. There are other key components that are still being built, and so to try to meet their, I'm sure, big timelines that they still have within office they're trying to meet, they can't just pull everybody who is working on Halo Reach MCC and say, hey, come fix these bugs. That would probably, in the long term, delay the game itself all the more. Now, continuing to the latter portion of the blog, Postums doubles down on the reality that they care most about bringing a quality product to PC and MCC on Xbox, and that despite these struggles of major bugs which are causing frustrating delays, they're going to hold to their mantra of when it's ready, it's ready. Postums goes on to write, quote, There seemed to be a lot of public perception that as flighting goal dates have been missed, that the project itself is going to suffer in the quality department. But that's the opposite of what reality is. In order to meet the high quality bar the teams have set for this project, these delays are to ensure it is the best it can be. While this is very tough to swallow from a fan standpoint, and I'm sure from a developer standpoint, this is truly the best policy that 343 can possibly have when bringing the MCC to PC and Reach to MCC on Xbox. It is always better to have the best possible game a little later than just an okay game now or just an okay flight now. Look, I don't like this any more than anybody else, but this is definitely the right call. When 343 released MCC 5 years ago, they released a pretty broken state of the game, and they paid for it dearly in the eyes of its fans, and they're committed to making sure that they don't commit this same mistake when trying to bring MCC to the PC and Reach to the Xbox. While this is a bummer now, this is truly for the best. Before I go, I want you also to consider what this says about 343. The fact that this blog exists and how transparent they've been so far in this whole MCC to PC process, this says something really significant about 343. What I think it communicates is that they are observant. They've watched their peers in AAA game developing over the last year and a half, and they have seen some titan companies get absolutely blasted because they've released a game that frankly just wasn't done and shouldn't have been released when it was. Think Fallout 76, think Anthem. 343 clearly doesn't want to make this mistake, and I think this should bode extremely well for the future of Halo, and it should give all fans just a sense of faith and goodwill towards 343 because they're not willing to commit the same mistakes that we've seen some other developers kind of willingly commit. Not that anybody tries to intentionally release a broken game, but 343 is going way out of their way to say, look, we're not releasing anything until it's truly ready. This should exactly give you all kinds of hope when it comes to not only the MCC coming to PC and Reach coming to the Xbox, but also for Halo Infinite. To me, it gives me a lot of peace of mind knowing that 343 is like, look, we're going to get this right across all of our games and products. We don't want to release anything that's broken, and I think that is just, again, while it's frustrating here and now because we all want Reach to come now, we want MCC to PC to come now. But to know that when they do come, they're going to be a quality product, I think speaks volumes about 343, and it speaks volumes about just what kind of experiences we can probably expect to have once the games come to our hands. I know it sounds like I'm kind of just like defending 343 here, and maybe I am. I do think this is the right move, and I definitely know nobody's going to feel bad about having a very well-working game once they actually come. But that's what I think. I'm really curious to know what you think below in the comments. Let me know, what did you think about this blog? Do you agree with how I feel that this is the right move, or do you think they're kind of behind and they need to pick it up and they're not doing as good a job as they should be? I'd be really curious to know, so let me know. Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then I would invite you to leave a like as well as consider subscribing and hitting the bell if you'd like to see more content from me. But let's not leave it there. Interacting is always the best part, so I want to invite you to a couple places where you can do that with me. The first is Twitter. I'm constantly tweeting about anything game related as well as just sharing my everyday life, and would love to interact and talk with you there. Also, would love to invite you to come hang out with me on stream sometime. I stream every Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday by 9 p.m. Eastern. Would love to invite you to come hang out there and talk about any games you're playing as well as just experience whatever I'm playing at that time. Lastly, would also love to invite you to come give our podcast a listen, the Fair and Balanced Play podcast. I and some friends talk about anything in gaming, anything that's happening in the industry, and would love to invite you to come join in on that and interact with us there. But regardless of what you choose to do, I hope you choose joy in your life today. And I hope you take that joy and you go give it to the next person you interact with. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.